Hey, everybody, welcome back for day 90 of 100 Days of Halloween. How are you? I hope you are doing well and have enjoyed your Monday. So, 100 Days of Halloween, what do we got going on? Well, my lovely yarny friend and sister Ranee over at the Woolly Llama Shop was discussing with several of us on a live that she had a brilliant idea for a project for the 100 Days of Halloween. And it was broke down in bite sized pieces to make it a little more manageable. And that idea was to build a blanket over the 100 Days of Halloween by doing one 6-inch by 6-inch granny square with either a fall or Halloween theme motif, applique, colorway, etc. And we could put these blocks together and build this blanket over the 100 days. Or you could use those blocks or appliques for other Halloween fall theme projects. So, what she did was she scoured the interwebs. She compiled this really big, long list of different blocks and appliques for the fall and Halloween season. And each one correlates with a number in her computer, and she decided she was going to draw them at random out of her little Jinx jack-o'-lantern of joy and provide you guys with a free pattern or tutorial every day for the 100 Days of Halloween to give you inspiration for either these blocks, appliques. The appliques could be put on anything. The blocks could be used for anything other than a blanket, which we have other yarny friends and sisters that are doing just that. So I thought it was a brilliant idea. I wanted to join in because I really wanted to do a Halloween themed blanket and just had not had the chance due to lifey stuff all the time. And I figured this is the year we're going to do it. So I joined in solidarity, and here we are. So every day, Monday through Friday, Rainey will draw at random either a block or an applique. She does a three for on Fridays because of her work schedule over the weekends and provides them to you. I have used some of them for inspiration for my blocks. I've also used inspiration from our other yarny friends and sisters, Patricia over at the Yarny Cat Crochet, who did not commit to a blanket because she had a lot of lifey stuff going on. And she has made other projects. She has made a crossbody handbag for the fall and Halloween season while she's out and about doing fall festivities. Then she turned around and made a scarf to match that. Then an amigurumi, and recently she made pumpkins. So, then there's also Nova over at Nova Gnome Creations, who is making the squares, but she is not using them in a blanket. She is putting them together and making wearables for herself and some near and dear littles in her life. And she is going to finally let us see those finished projects sometime during her 13 days of Halloween or the final week, her little boo bash or whatever. And I can't wait because I want to see them. I've been patiently waiting because her squares are awesome. So, if you do not know my Yarny friends and sisters, please, please, please go check them out. They are super creative, very talented, and I think you will love them just as much as I do. They are always linked in the description box, as well as anybody else that has a channel, Yarny friends and sisters that I mentioned during my videos. So, I decided I was going to do mine a little bit different than Rainy. And like I said, I've used some of the inspiration of the blocks or appliques that Rainy has drawn during this 100 Days of Halloween. And I've also used ones that I found that she hadn't drawn. Some of the ones I've used already, she drew later. And then she drew them. And then I've also used inspiration from you guys in your suggestions and guesses in my comment section about what would go on my random squares, as well as while I'm out in the wild doing lifey stuff and going to appointments or things I see on TV, magazine ads, etc. So, how I decided to put a twist on myself, because at the very beginning, I made a bunch of squares that were blank and ready for appliques. And I tried to draw them at random from one of the big shopping totes from our beloved RIP Joanne's. That was kind of an epic fail, me trying to hold it up and draw at random all by myself. It was wanting to collapse. So we graduated to a cardboard box, which has been affectionately nicknamed the Boo Box of Fate. So every day, by the end of the video, I draw a new square at random, and that is the square we have to work with. And then the next day, I show you guys what I did and see if you guys have guessed it, or if I've used like one of your suggestions. I've been keeping a list, kind of like Santa, but it's not a naughty or nice list. I think it's a fun list. So I've been counting down my squares in groups of 10, and we have completed the groups of 10 all the way 1 through 80. And this group of 10 that we are finishing up today is 81 through 90. And once I have 10 done, then I do a little video short recap so you can see them on all their glory before they get fit into my blanket. So without further ado, let's check out and see the squares for this group of 10, because today is the last one in this group of 10, and tomorrow we start the last batch of 10. So for day 81, we drew at random this square right here, made from Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Stripes in the brights. And we are choosing to leave these blank, most of them, because I'm going to try and strategically place them for appliques that were too large for just one square. And if at the end of getting everything put together, if there are some of these that were left blank and I have some extra appliques that I didn't use, as long as they don't look too weird or just kind of blend in too much, I'm going to add those on blank squares. So this was day 81, and we left it blank. And then for day 82, we drew a black sparkly square at random. And what I wanted to do was put a little boy scarecrow on it, because we'd already done a girl scarecrow at the very beginning, somewhere around there. I can't remember if it was the first batch of 10 or the second, somewhere around there. And so I started to work on that. And then I got a text from my uncle, and he said he wanted to see a scarecrow, but with a jack o' lantern head. So I nixed what I was doing, started working on the jack o' lantern headed scarecrow. And once I got everything done and I started putting it together, I didn't like how it was turning out. And no matter what I did, it just was not working how I had it in my brain. And so I ended up just leaving it as a witchy jack-o'-lantern. And I think he turned out cute with his crooked little grin. Like I said, I think it was yesterday, he's got that "I told you so" look. So we left him as is. And that was day 82. Then for day 83 square, we drew out this slime green, and I was trying to figure out what to put on it, and I was going through my little cardboard box that sits next to my chair of some appliques that are ready for squares, or appliques that aren't quite done, or they're too large. And so I came across one that was in 5 pieces, and I started sewing it on. It was a little too plain, so I had to get on the internet and try and find something that would kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. And the original pattern that I used was from Maria's Blue Crayon, and it was the squirrel applique. And because I thought it was plain, I got on the internet and I came across the mini acorn applique, and that was by Itching for Some Stitching. So I just made 2 of them and put them on there so it dressed it up a little bit and it didn't look so blah. So that was day 83. Then day 84 square, we drew this like neon bright blue, and I was trying to figure out what to put on it, and I chose to use some inspiration from one of you guys. And in the comments, Sharon Sutcliffe had suggested, since I had been doing these little ghosty, like dressed up like trick or treaters that is from a pattern by the Caffeinated Snail, and it's for a ghosty banner. And there's 5 of them, and we had already used 4. We had used the Franken ghosty at the beginning. Then we used the pumpkin ghosty. We used the witch ghosty. Most recently, we used the vampire ghosty. And we have one left to go in this group of 10 somewhere. And it'll be a pirate ghosty. But she wanted me to do a kitty cat ghosty. So I used the same little ghosty pattern for the body. And then I just freehanded a little black tail, little ears, put some whiskers on it. And we did the ghosty kitty. And I appreciate Sharon for all of the guesses and comments and suggestions. And I loved doing this one. It was so fun. And I'm glad she suggested it because I didn't even think of it. And I think it's going to make a nice addition to all the kitty cats in my blanket. So that was day 84. Then for day 85 square, we pulled out Red Heart Super Saver jumbo stripes in the neons, and another one that we chose to leave blank in hopes of using it for some of the extra large appliques. And if at the end of the day, not all of the large appliques go on these, and I don't have a smaller one, we will leave them blank to kind of break up the busyness that's going on the blanket because there's a lot of busy. So that was day 85. Then day 86 square, we drew at random. Yes, Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Stripes, but in the brights. Yet again, this one was a lighter, brighter as compared to this one. I love how that skein worked up because none of the squares are the same. Some of them might be similar with the colors, but it's always different. And I think I like it that way because it's got the orange, more orange on the bottom. So we chose to leave this one blank because I think I know which extra large applique is going to go on this one. I think I have another square that is similar and I think it'll work. So that was day 86. Then on day 87 square, we drew out this deep purple and I was trying to figure out what to put on it. And I was looking at, I have also a sheet of paper that has some of my ideas on it that I really wanted to implement in the blanket if I could. And I decided to try and do a square from my all time favorite movie. And I took from the quote, um, and I always mess it up by doing it backwards. So let me pull it up. Every time I try and say it, I do it backwards. So bear with me, guys. Here it is. There are some things I know for certain. Always throw spilt salt over your left shoulder. Keep rosemary by your garden gate. Plant lavender for luck and fall in love whenever you can. And well, some of you guessed it. And my favorite movie was Practical Magic. So I just freehanded a little salt shaker, put the little S on there, and embroidered some little rosemary vines, some lavender, and then just crocheted a little basic heart for the fall in love whenever you can. And I love it. And I'm glad I finally got to put Practical Magic in my blanket because we have some Harry Potter inspired squares. We have some Nightmare Before Christmas. And I can't remember if we've done Beetlejuice inspired or not. I will have to go back and look. But now we have Practical Magic. Yes. So that was day 87. Then day 88, we drew out bright orange. And let me and I really wanted to do this applique because we already had like a witch head. Well, it was a gnome witch. And I wanted a full body witch. And there was a super cute witch applique that is by Hookfully Crochet. And so I decided to put her on this orange one because I thought it was perfect. The only changes I made from her pattern was she does gray for the hair And for the stripe on the hat and the lapel and the pieces going down on her robe and dress, she used red for those. I chose to give her auburn hair like me and use purple because it's my favorite color. So this was by Maria's Blue Crayon. No, Hookfully Crochet. And any of these squares, if there is a pattern online, written, or a video tutorial, all you got to do is look in the description box, find that square, and it'll give you the information for where you can find those things to use them however you want to use them. And because her hat was a little taller, I did leave some extra yarn so that I can tack it down on the square that will go above her on my blanket. So that was day 88. And then for day 89, we did another viewer suggestion. And that viewer suggestion came from Fairy Crochet Mama. And she had wanted to know if Ranee had either drawn a hedgehog or anybody else had guessed hedgehog, or if we'd used a hedgehog because she's new and hadn't seen all the squares. And we had not. And I had been wanting to do one. And so I scoured the internet and I found a pattern, and it was by Butterfly Craft. And it was for a little hedgehog pocket hug. And I just did the back spiny part a little different. I explained that in yesterday's video. And that way it wasn't two pieces. I just did the trim around the edge to make it look like the spinies for the hedgehog. I think it turned out adorable. I'm glad she actually suggested that. And I just did a couple of extra little apples in different colors to kind of dress it up, kind of like we did the squirrel with the acorns. And that way it wasn't so plain. And once again, that hedgehog pocket hug, even though it's a little different, was by Butterfly Craft. And I love it. I think it's going to look cute on my blanket. So that was yesterday's square, day 89. And then for today's square, we drew at random this like midnight blue, which is the Red Heart Super Saver Blue Wave. And I was trying to think what I wanted to put on it. And I was looking over different guesses. And I realized by looking at my list of things that I would like to put in my blanket, and there's so many ideas, I know I can't get them all in there. There was one Halloween tradition that I always had as a kid, and I still do watch it every year. That was not in my blanket. And I was like, I don't know how I had not done it already. And I did not want him to be forgotten. And before I show you the square, let's see what you guys said should, or you thought should, or inspiration for the square. So Sam from Memphis Makes said, yep, it's getting spooky now, LOL. Yes. Maybe all of those people who called me a witch were actually right and not just being mean. I hear you because I've been called that more times than not. And depending on how they treat me will decide whether I'm a good witch or a bad witch. You have probably already filmed the blue. No, I had not. As I'm late to the party again. No, you were not. But I still say haunted, ghostly pirate ship. Oh, love that you got Wildflower yarn. Yes, we started our 13-day yarn advent from Wildflower yarn as of yesterday. And it is in My Pastel Goth Era 13-day yarn advent. And we will be opening the second one today. Pretty pumpkins too. Thank you. Wow, bumper video cram full of gorgeousness. Love you, girl. Love you too. And yes, it was cram full because I kept forgetting stuff. But I'm trying to remember everything today. I've got it all sitting right here. So then we have Amy that said Practical Magic, wonderful edition. Yes. And Anne Windrow said, love the hedgehog. He is very cute. Can't wait to see the finished blanket. I know, me too. And once I get all the squares on there, I know it's not going to be finished by Halloween, but it will be shown once it is fully finished because I will be putting a border and a trim on it just so I can, you know, dress it up a little bit. And then we have Ruru or Ruth. She said the hedgehog is so cute. Great job, Missy. Thank you, Ruth. And then Karen Smith. Hi, Karen. She said, your hedgehog is adorable. Thank you. The golden snitch from Harry Potter would look good on that color. The gold would stand out. Your pumpkins are adorable, but the purple one is my fave. Of course, because purple is my signature color. Yes. There's quite a few of us that really love our purple. Glad you liked it. And then we have Patricia from the Yarny Cat Crochet, one of our little Yarny sister cohorts that are doing this 100 Days of Halloween. And she said, I think the hedgehog hugs are cute. I think your square is awesome. It's my new fave. Aw, I am just suggesting things over. Your pumpkin number 4 and 5 are gorgeous. Thank you. And that hedgehog is one of my favorites too. And I think the little pocket hugs would make little great random acts of kindness. So I do intend on making some at some point and putting them away with I'm starting a basket of random acts of kindness things that I can leave out or just hand out, or like when we go eat, like I said the other day, leave or put on the table for our server or whatever. And then we have Lisa from Lisa Knits. Hi, Lisa. She said, guess a haunted mansion. You guys are really wanting me to build more houses, aren't you? And then Find Your Joy. Hi, Joy. And speaking of which, we need to talk about Little Miss Joy at the end of this video. Do you carry the yarn on your pumpkins or do you change the yarn every time? So, in answer to your question, Joy, the pumpkins that I've done that are multiple color, um, I am just binding off for each time I change the yarn because there's no ends to weave in when it comes to that. Because once you stuff it and cinch it shut, you don't even see the ends anymore. So easy peasy, they're inside, tucked away, no big deal. And so I had no problem binding off and doing it. Even though weaving in ends is no big deal to me, I'm one of those that does not despise it. It was still super simple because all you got to do is leave them and make sure they're tucked inside when you cinch it up. And that's how I do it. It was a lot easier just to cut off, bind off, than to try and carry the yarn. No, I'm not trying to mess with tangles. So, and this was one of the pumpkins I showed yesterday. So I hope that answers your question. And then she also commented again, the hedgehog is so adorable. Thank you. For the blue square, hear me out. I know you had a heck of a time with the mummy, but what if, you just do the mummy face with eyes sticking out of the bandages 11 more days? Originally when I was gonna do the mummy, I was only gonna do the head and like maybe the hands. Um, but I tried to freehand it and it just was not, it was looking atrocious. It was looking atrocious. And the only pattern I could find was a paid pattern that looked super cool. And I couldn't even duplicate it in the amount of time that I had. So that was why I went for the full body, even though that one took me some time. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And yes, we know it's 11 more days, but like Ranee said, the internet lied to us. Ah, and we started a day early, but at least that way we are leading up. And on the last day, we know we only have one more day till Halloween. So our countdown kind of is still, yeah. Um, and we'll still be dealing with blanket stuff on that final day of Halloween. So We're good. We already realized the internet lied. Um, Rainey and I both suspected, and once we got to looking at a calendar and figuring it out, we realized that the internet did lie. And then we have Ruru again. She said, "Hi, Missy. I think this was already suggested, but I think it's a great idea for a tree laced in toilet paper." Love you, girl. I hate to see this end. Um, Me too, because we're having so much fun, which is why I think giving ourselves a break um, for the rest of the year and working on other projects, and then being able to plan more for next year because we're not doing the 100 days of Halloween blanket style. We are doing 100 days leading up to Christmas, and we're still trying to iron out all those details for that. It's going to be fun, but just got to wait a year. And then Amy from Hooked on Wishing said, "LOL, that would be cute square." Hee hee. Yes, it would. A tree laced in toilet paper. Yeah, and I think Rainey was the one who suggested toilet paper. Um, it's still on my list, so we will see. We still have 10 more days of squares. Well, technically only 9 because my 100th day square is already done, and that was the square that Rainey challenged me to do the stacked kitty cats. So we only have 9 more. So we will see. And that was all of the comments. So, what did I put on my square? Well, like I said, it was kind of a tradition. I decided I was going to put this on my square because I love this character so much. And I was extremely attached as a toddler um, with a certain stuffed animal that sadly my grandpa and my dad took me out in a canoe fishing, and I took him with me, and he fell out of the boat and he got caught up in the current, and before my grandpa could catch up with it to save him, he went over this little mini fall and down the river, and I was devastated. I think I was 3, maybe 4. And I also had all of the whole book series because back then, and I don't know if you can even get them now, it was kind of like a subscription book, and they were little hardcovers. And when you first subscribed, you got the little bookshelf, plastic bookshelf. And then every month you would get a new book in the series. And that book series was, and it wasn't the Disney ones, it was the Peanuts book series. So that kind of tells you where I'm going with this square. So what did I put on my square? Snoopy. And I decided to make him with a pumpkin for the Great Pumpkin. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. So he's in the pumpkin patch with a pumpkin. And I kind of tacked this down so it wouldn't keep popping up on his face. So I had to do Snoopy because he was the end all be all when I was little, my favorite. Every year they show It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I have to watch it, even as an adult in my 50s. Going on, yeah, I'm getting up there. Um, yeah, it was a tradition. The big bowl of popcorn, everything else, and I still watch it today because I absolutely love and adore Snoopy and the Peanuts gang. So, and it always cracked me up that all of the adults sounded like, yep, you never heard them actually say words. Everything was, but yes, so I did Snoopy with a pumpkin in the Great Pumpkin Patch, waiting for the Great Pumpkin. So the Snoopy portion of it was by Repeat Crafter Me, and it is the Snoopy inspired crochet applique right there. And I will link that information in the description box. I thought it was super cute and I just had to do it. And then the pumpkin I used was, and I used this pumpkin before. I just went down, I think, 2 hook sizes, if I'm not mistaken. And it is by the Caffeinated Snail, and it's the Crochet Pumpkin Coaster. And I used it for a pumpkin in one of the other squares way back close to the beginning. And like I said, it's the Caffeinated Snail. And here's the pumpkin coaster. And I will link that one again in the description box. So I just combined them both and had him peeking out from behind the pumpkin. And I love him, and I am so, so, so glad that I was able to get him in on this blanket before it ended, and I ran out of squares and couldn't do it. So there's Snoopy and his pumpkin in the pumpkin patch waiting on the great pumpkin. So that was day 90. That's the end of the 10 days. So we have 10 more squares to go into the blanket. And after I do my little video shoot, 10 square recap, we will be able to feed them to the blanket. I still have, is it 14 or 15 squares in the cardboard box? Partial from the ones before. The last group of 10 has not been added in yet because I want to be able to place those blank squares. And then these 10, so that'll make 20 some squares, and then we'll just have 10 more to go. So back to the pumpkins that Joy had brought up. And when I did the video yesterday and I showed you 2 more pumpkins, I had told you I had another one in there that I only needed like 2 more rounds of wheat stitch and then 1 round of the single crochets in between, and it would be done. All I had to do was sew it closed, cinch it up, and then put the ribbon on. I finished it. And I used that hot pink fuchsia sparkly Red Heart Super Saver yarn. I don't know if you can see all the sparkles. And in between is the, I love this yarn in Orange Burst with all of those pretty colors. It's got the fuchsia, the blues, the purples, the oranges, a little bit of brown, some white. And I think it turned out super cute. I like it. So that was my sixth pumpkin. Yeah, because the first day we showed 3, then we showed 2 yesterday, and then this one is done. So that makes number 6. And I have another one that's almost done. It just needs to be cinched at the bottom, stuffed, cinched at the top, and sewed down and put a ribbon on it, and it'll be good to go. And that will make number 7. Maybe we'll have it done for tomorrow. I'm not sure. So we still have a little ways to go. So there we go. Hot pink sparkly pumpkin. And I know Sam will probably love it. I wish you were my neighbor because I would give it to you to put on your desk. Since it is pink and sparkly, this is a Sam pumpkin for sure. So there we go. Number 6. And before we finish up, we have to open my Wildflower yarn 13 days of Halloween Advent. This is day number 2, which is the 20th of October, and see what is in this one. And then we'll draw the square for tomorrow and see what color we're working with. And then we have to have a little talk about our little friend, Miss Joy. Ooh, okay. This one's a little different than yesterday. It's got a little bit different colors. So this one's got some purples and some blues and some different kinds of pink and fuchsia. It's got a couple different shades. It's got like a light blue, a darker, like a turquoise kind of blue, hiding in there. See there? And some blues and purples, and there's some fuchsia, and it's sparkly, and it's on that very, very light ballerina pink. And you can see just a smidgy bit of like a beige. So it is different than yesterday's. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So this is day number 2. And this is from Wildflower Yarns over in Liverpool, United Kingdom. And I ordered this back in July when she was taking pre-orders for the 13-day Halloween Advent. And um, it is called In My Pastel Goth Era. And it most certainly is. It is gorgeous. And guys, I wish we had like feel-o-vision because this is so soft. And how I heard about her was through Sam from over at Memphis Makes. She had ordered some of the and I can't remember exactly what they're called. They were something grab bags where you order them and it's a mystery as to what yarns you get. Hand-dyed hanks, and they were all gorgeous. She suggested we go check them out, and when I did, I noticed she was doing the pre-orders for the 13 days of Halloween Advent. And so I went ahead and I ordered it because I thought it was going to be super fun. And so far I'm loving it. And I cannot say her name for the life of me. I do not know how to pronounce it, but her information and her Etsy store are linked into the description box. She's got some gorgeous yarn. Just an FYI, not trying to enable anybody, but yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So there was day number 2 for October 20th. And I need to find something to hang them back here as we open them up for the 13 days. So guys, let's draw for tomorrow's square and see what we're working with. Blue again. No, I veto. I veto. Because we just did blue. We got an eyeball. I knew there was another one in there. I knew it. So we got an eyeball. So guess what's going to go on tomorrow's square? Give me your guesses and suggestion, guys, for tomorrow's square. And we'll see if that's what's on tomorrow's square. So this is going to be for day 91. And so, yes, day 91 square. So down to business real quick. So we have a new yarny friend who has started a channel, and she's been doing, as she puts it, she has self-imposed the 31 days of Halloween challenge on herself, where she's been dropping a video every day and showing you what she's making during the 31 days of Halloween. I think she is super adorable. I'm glad I found her. And she is so close, guys, so close to hitting 200 subscribers. And I had a group phone call with my Yarny sisters today. We were ironing out the details of our new segment that is going to be starting on Wednesday. And we were talking about Joy, and we want to help her get over the 200 subscriber hump. We want to get her pushed over so she exceeds 200. So I'm going to link her in my description box. And today is the 20th. I don't think she's dropped her video for today. So I am going to link her video from yesterday, or the last one she put out. And I want you, if you could, please go over and watch that video and comment and try, and please subscribe to her channel. I can't tell you to, but it would be awesome if you did, because we want to get her over 200. So go watch that video and comment on her video, because she is super adorable. She is so fun. I wait for her video to drop. So whatever one was her last day video drop, I will link it in my description box. Please go over there and watch her. If you love her, subscribe. And then come back to my video and tell me done, and or I did it. And once we get her over 200 and we give it some days, I'm going to do a little drawing um, for those who came back to this video and said done, and for a thank you for helping get Joy into the 200s, just to show my appreciation. And um, we can do a giveaway for worldwide. If you are overseas due to tariffs and duties and all that, we will do $10 gift card at Ravelry. You pick your patterns, and that way we just send them to you. But if you are in the United States, you will get a Yarny Happy Mail. So either way, if you are overseas, you can still enter. It just won't, it'll be a Ravelry prize. And that way nobody's having to pay the exponentially ridiculous shipping and duties and taxes and stuff. And you get to pick what you're getting. And then if you're in the United States, you can either have the Yarny Happy Mail, or you can say, hey, I would rather choose something off of Ravelry. I will leave that up to the winner. So there we go. Like I said, I will link Joy in my description box, her latest video that she has dropped. And please go check her out. And if you love her, give her video a like, subscribe. She is super cute and so creative. And she has a sense of humor, and she has kitties, of course. So with that, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go and come back tomorrow for day 91 of the 100 days of Halloween. I love y'all bunches, and I'm gonna leave you with these words: life is not perfect, so be kind. Try and create something new every day, and keep reaching for the stars in your yarn. So till next time, guys, see you tomorrow. Bye for now.